A teenager sees the impossible. January 24, 1961. Midnight in rural North Carolina. 17-year-old Billy Reeves prepares for bed on his family's tobacco farm near Goldsboro. Suddenly, his bedroom walls glow red. He rushes to the window and freezes. A massive B-52 bomber, one wing completely missing, trailing flames, screams across the sky barely a quarter-mile away, spinning like a Roman candle. Seconds later, it slams into a tobacco field with a thunderous explosion. What Billy doesn't know yet is that the dying bomber just dropped 2 hydrogen bombs on North Carolina, and one of them came within a single switch of detonating. This is the story of how America almost nuked itself, just 3 days into JFK's presidency. Operation Chrome Dome, Flying Doomsday. The Cold War is at its peak. To ensure instant response to Soviet attack, the Strategic Air Command keeps nuclear-armed B-52 bombers in the air 24 hours a day, patrolling near Soviet airspace. Each bomber carries 2 Mark 39 hydrogen bombs. These aren't small atomic bombs. Each Mark 39 packs 3.8 megatons, equivalent to 3.8 million tons of TNT. That's 250 times more powerful than Hiroshima. A single detonation would vaporize everything within 17 miles. The fallout would contaminate Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, potentially New York City, the entire eastern seaboard. On January 23, 1961, a B-52G designated Keep 19 Inches takes off from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, carrying 2 of these weapons. Major Walter Scott Tulloch commands the 8-man crew. The mission: a routine 12-hour patrol. Nobody expects disaster. The fuel leak. Around midnight, Keep 19 approaches a tanker aircraft for refueling. As fuel flows, the tanker crew spots something alarming. You've got a fuel leak in your right wing. Major Tulloch checks his instruments. The leak is serious. They abort refueling and circle offshore, burning fuel before attempting emergency landing. Then the leak worsens catastrophically. In 3 minutes, 37,000 pounds of jet fuel streams from the damaged wing. Tulloch requests immediate clearance to land at Seymour Johnson. Keep 19 turns toward home, descending through darkness over North Carolina tobacco fields. The wing tears off. At 10,000 feet, the crew lowers landing gear. A loud bang. The bomber lurches left. Another bang. The right wing, structurally weakened, tears completely away from the fuselage. Without the right wing, Keep 19 enters a violent death spiral. Major Tulloch makes the only choice: eject, eject, eject. 5 crew members punch out. First Lieutenant Adam Maddox becomes the only B-52 crewman ever to bail out through the top hatch without an ejection seat. 3 men can't escape. They ride the bomber down. As Keep 19 breaks apart at 9,000 feet, the bomb bay doors rip open. 2 hydrogen bombs tumble into the darkness. The bombs arm themselves. Here's where it gets terrifying. The spinning, disintegrating aircraft triggers the bomb's arming sequences. Centrifugal forces automatically pull the release lanyards, exactly as they would during a real nuclear strike. As far as the bomb's electronics are concerned, they've been deliberately dropped on an enemy target. Both weapons begin arming themselves. Bomb number 1's parachute deploys perfectly. The 100-foot chute blossoms, and the bomb drifts gently down, landing nose first in a tree near the community of Faro. Its arm-safe switch reads, "Safe." Bomb number 2 isn't so lucky. Its parachute fails. The 6 200-pound hydrogen bomb plummets at 700 miles per hour, slamming into a muddy tobacco field and burying itself deep underground. First responders find hell. Explosive ordnance disposal technician Earl Buster Smith gets the midnight call every bomb tech dreads: broken arrow, nuclear weapons accident. He's airborne in a helicopter within minutes. They arrive at apocalyptic destruction. Wreckage covers 2 square miles. Fires burn everywhere. The bomber hit so hard that pieces embedded upside down in the earth. Smith's team locates bomb number 1 quickly, hanging in a tree like a nightmarish ornament. They carefully disarm and remove it. But where's the second bomb? The search becomes a months-long nightmare. The weapon hit waterlogged farmland. Crews dig for weeks, pumping water constantly. They recover pieces, the explosive lenses, detonators, the plutonium-uranium core. But the secondary stage, containing fusion fuel, remains buried. After 4 months, they give up. Part of a hydrogen bomb is still under that field today. The declassified truth. For decades, the Air Force insists there was never detonation danger. Safety mechanisms worked perfectly, nothing to worry about. Then, in 2013, journalist Eric Schlosser files Freedom of Information Act requests. The government releases classified documents. The truth is horrifying. Bomb number 1 went through 5 of its 6 arming steps. The parachute deployed. Barometric sensors activated. Timer started. Electrical charging began. Only one low-voltage switch prevented full arming. One switch. That's all that stood between eastern North Carolina and thermonuclear catastrophe. A declassified report by Parker Jones, a Sandia National Laboratory supervisor, concludes. One simple dynamo technology, low-voltage switch stood between the United States and a major catastrophe. What if it had detonated? Let's consider the unthinkable. If bomb number 1 had detonated, the fireball would have vaporized everything within 2 miles. The blast wave would have leveled structures within 8 miles. Thermal radiation would have caused third-degree burns within 15 miles. Goldsboro, 12 miles away, would have been devastated. But the real killer would be fallout. A 3.8 megaton ground burst throws enormous radioactive debris into the atmosphere. Prevailing winds would have carried lethal fallout across eastern North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., potentially to New York City. Researchers estimate 28,000 immediate deaths, hundreds of thousands more from radiation sickness. The nation's capital contaminated. The eastern seaboard evacuated. 3 days into Kennedy's presidency, America would have nuked itself. The cover-up. Defense Secretary Robert McNamara knew how close the call was. In 1983, he admitted the bomb went through all but one of its arming steps. But officially, the government maintained there was never real danger. Why? Cold War politics. If Americans knew nuclear bombers could accidentally drop hydrogen bombs on U.S. soil, public support would evaporate. Charlie Burks, a Sandia nuclear weapons engineer, later revealed the terrifying truth. Unfortunately, there have been 30-some incidents where the ready safe switch was operated inadvertently. The exact malfunction that nearly failed at Goldsboro had happened dozens of times before. We just got lucky. The forgotten legacy. The Goldsboro accident convinced President Kennedy that airborne alert missions posed unacceptable risks. He drastically reduced Chrome Dome flights. By 1968, following another nuclear accident in Greenland, airborne alert ended entirely. 3 airmen died in the crash. 3 survived. Millions of Americans never knew how close they came to annihilation. Today, a historical marker in Eureka calls it a nuclear mishap, a masterpiece of understatement. Part of a hydrogen bomb still sits beneath that tobacco field. It can't detonate without the primary, but it's down there. A souvenir of the day we rolled nuclear dice and won. Billy Reeves watched from his porch as a bomber fell, never knowing his entire world could have ended in nuclear fire. One switch. That's all that saved us.